learning to forgive yourself. Do you know what's hardest to forgive? It isn't betrayal. It isn't heartbreak. And it isn't even the wounds other people leave behind. It's the mistakes we make ourselves. Some people have found the strength to forgive those who once hurt them. They've smiled at memories that used to bring them to tears. They've learned to let go of what was never meant to stay. Yet they've never truly forgiven themselves. Instead, they keep living with the same familiar words. If only I had tried harder. If only I hadn't let them down. Those two words, if only, sound so small. Yet sometimes they become invisible chains that keep a person trapped for years. Perhaps every one of us carries a memory that makes our heart feel just a little heavier whenever it returns. A sentence we wish we had never said, an exam that didn't go the way we hoped, an opportunity we let slip away, someone we loved but didn't know how to hold on to. Or perhaps it's simply an older version of ourselves, the one we now wish we could gently embrace and whisper, "You are still so young. You were doing the best you knew how." But instead, we often do the opposite. We ask the person we are today to judge the person we were years ago. It's like expecting a child who's just learned to walk to run like an Olympic athlete. Is that really fair? Psychologist Carl Rogers once said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." Many people believe that forgiving themselves will make them complacent, but the truth is often the exact opposite. A person trapped in guilt spends enormous energy trying to escape their mistakes. A person who accepts those mistakes has far more strength to repair them, because they are no longer at war with themselves. There's a simple story I once heard. A man carried a backpack filled with stones. Every time he made a mistake, he placed another stone inside. One broken promise. One lie. One person he disappointed. One opportunity he failed to seize. Year after year, the backpack grew heavier. Eventually, he became convinced that the road itself was exhausting. What he never realized was this: it wasn't the journey that weighed him down. It was the backpack he had never allowed himself to put down. Perhaps we're not so different. Many of us carry invisible stones. No one else can see them, but we feel their weight every single day. Whenever something goes wrong, those old stones suddenly become heavier. See? I've always been a failure. I'll never be good enough. I ruin everything. But here's something worth remembering. A mistake is an event. It only becomes a prison when you turn it into your identity. You made a mistake. That doesn't make you a bad person. You failed. That doesn't mean your life is a failure. Those are two very different things. Psychological research has found that when people repeatedly criticize themselves after failure, the brain remains in a state of stress for much longer. On the other hand, when we face our mistakes with honesty and self-compassion, we're far more likely to learn, heal, and move forward. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It simply refuses to let the past decide your worth today. Perhaps you've seen a tree in late autumn. Most of its leaves have fallen. Its branches stand bare against the sky. It almost looks lifeless. Yet no tree despises itself for losing its leaves. It never asks, "Why can't I stay green forever?" It simply stands there quietly, trusting that spring will come again. People somehow are different. We expect ourselves never to make mistakes, never to be vulnerable, never to fail. But if a tree needs winter before it can bloom again in spring, perhaps we need our failures before we can truly grow. Not every crack is the end of something. Some cracks are simply where the light begins to enter. As Leonard Cohen beautifully wrote, there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Perhaps what makes us beautiful isn't that we've never fallen. It's that after everything we've been through, we still choose to reach for our own hand and keep walking. If there's something you're still carrying today, something that still fills you with regret, don't try to erase it. Instead, try looking at it the way you would an old friend. Listen, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Learn what it came to teach you. Then gently whisper, "Thank you for the lesson, but it's time for me to keep going." Perhaps forgiving yourself doesn't happen in a single day. Perhaps it's a journey. Some days you'll move forward. Other days, old memories will quietly return. That doesn't mean you've gone back to the beginning. It simply means your heart needs a little more time. And that's perfectly okay. Tonight, before you fall asleep, remember this. The person you were back then made every decision with the knowledge, the strength, and the emotional maturity they had at that moment. The person you are today is no longer the same. Don't keep sentencing your past self for crimes judged by the wisdom you've gained since then. Because memories were never meant to punish us. They exist to remind us how far we've come. Maybe tomorrow, you still won't have forgiven yourself completely. That's okay. That's okay. If today you're just a little kinder to yourself, a little less harsh, and willing to believe that you're still worthy of another chance, then you've already come farther than you think. Because sometimes the most beautiful forgiveness isn't the kind we receive from someone else. It's the quiet gift we finally choose to give our own hearts after carrying yesterday's burdens for far too many years.